Hello, it's Sarah with Read the Entire Bible in a Year. We are on day 59, reading Deuteronomies 14, 15, and 16. And check this out. If you've been following me this whole time, we've read all of that already. How amazing. How amazing. You don't eat an elephant with one big bite. You eat it one bite at a time, and it'll get eaten eventually. But same thing with what we're doing here, reading the Bible. It's a big book and it's not subject divided. So it's so cool that we're able to do that together. Today in the reading, one of the things I appreciated is how balanced it was about the slaves or servants, that Jehovah helped so many ways to try to help owner, if you will, know how to be balanced with their slave, to treat them fairly, kindly, recognizing that there may be a time in the future when they're not going to be serving them anymore. What then? So giving them, maybe autonomy was the word, I don't know, but giving them an opportunity to serve Jehovah and be accepted regardless of their condition or situation was a pretty beautiful thing. So let's go ahead and read Deuteronomy, my thing just died, chapter 14. You are sons of Jehovah your God. Do not cut yourself or shave your foreheads bald for a dead person, for you are a holy people to Jehovah your God, and Jehovah has chosen you to become his people, his special property, out of all the peoples who are on the face of the earth. You must not eat anything that is detestable. These are the animals that you may eat: the bull, the sheep, the goat, the deer, the gazelle, the roebuck, the wild goat, the antelope, the wild sheep, and the mountain sheep. You may eat any animal that has split hooves, divided into two, and chews cud. However, you must not eat the following animals that chew the cud or that have split hooves: the camel, the hare, the rock badger, because they chew the cud but do not have split hooves, they are unclean for you. Also the pig, because it has a split hoof but does not chew the cud, it is unclean for you. You must You must not eat their flesh or touch their carcasses. Of everything that is living in the waters you may eat these. Anything with fins and scales you may eat, but you must not eat anything that has no fins and scales. It is unclean for you. You may eat any unclean bird, but you may not eat the eagle, the osprey, or the kite vulture, the red kite, the black kite, every kind of glede, every kind of raven, the ostrich, the owl, the gull, every kind of falcon, the little owl, the long-eared owl, the swan, the pelican, the vulture, the cormorant, the stork, every kind of heron, the hoopoe, and the bat. Every winged swarming creature also is unclean for you. They should not be eaten. Any clean flying creature you may eat. You must not eat any animal that was found dead. You must not give it to the foreign resident who is in your cities, and he may eat, or it may be sold to a foreigner. For you are a holy people to Jehovah your God. I thought I said you must not sell it to them, but it says you may give it to them. Okay. The next part of verse 21. You must not boil a young kid in its mother's milk. Boiling a goat in its mother's milk. You must without fail give a tenth of everything your seed produces in the field year by year. You will eat the 10th part of your grain, your new wine, your oil, and the firstborn of your herd and your flock before Jehovah your God, in the place that he chooses to have his name reside. so that you may learn to fear Jehovah your God always. But if the journey should be too long for you and you're not able to carry it to the place that Jehovah your God chooses as the place for his name, because it is far away from you, because Jehovah your God will bless you, you may then convert it into money. And with your money in hand, travel to the place that Jehovah your God will choose. You may then spend the money on whatever you desire: cattle, sheep, goats, wine, and other alcoholic beverages, and anything you please. And you will eat there before Jehovah your God and rejoice, you and your household. And do not neglect the Levite who is inside your cities, for he has not been given a share or an inheritance with you. At the end of every 3 years, you should bring out the entire part of your produce for that year and deposit it inside your cities. Then the Levite who has not been given a share or an inheritance with you, the foreign resident, the fatherless child, and the widows who are in your cities will come and eat their fill, so that Jehovah your God may bless you in all that you do. So going back to 15, let me see here. 13, hold on a second. Sorry. I had to get a drink. So going back to 15 of Deuteronomy, at the end of every 7 years, you should grant a release. This is the nature of the release. Every creditor will release his neighbor from the debt he incurred. He should not demand payment from his neighbor or his brother, for it will be proclaimed a release to Jehovah. You may demand payment from the foreigner, but you should release your claim on whatever your brother owes you. However, no one among you should become poor, for Jehovah will surely bless you in the land that Jehovah your God is giving you to possess as an inheritance. But if only you strictly obey the voice of Jehovah your God and carefully observe all his commandments that I am giving you today, for Jehovah your God will bless you just as he has promised you, and you will lend to many nations, but you will not need to borrow. And you will dominate many nations, but they will not dominate you. If one of your brothers becomes poor among you in one of your cities of the land that Jehovah your God is giving you, do not harden your heart or be tight-fisted toward your poor brother, for you should generously open your hand to him, and by all means lend whatever he needs or is lacking. Be careful not to harbor this evil idea in your heart. The year of the release has approached, and then hold back your generosity toward your poor brother and give him nothing. If he calls out to Jehovah against you, it will be a sin on your part. You should generously give to him, and you should not give to him grudgingly, for this is why Jehovah your God will bless your every deed and undertaking. For there will always be poor people in the land. That is why I'm commanding you, you should generously open up your hand to your afflicted and poor brother in your land. If one of your brothers, a Hebrew man or woman, is sold to you and has served you for 6 years, then in the 7th year you should set him free. And if you should set him free, do not send him away empty-handed. You should supply him generously with something from your flock, your threshing floor, and your press for oil and wine. Just as Jehovah your God has blessed you, you should give to him. Remember that you became a slave in the land of Egypt, and that Jehovah your God redeemed you. That is why I am commanding you to do this today. But if he says to you, I will not go out from your company, because he loves you and your household, since he has been happy while with you. You should then take an awl and put it through his ear into the front door, and he will become your slave for life. You should do the same with your slave girl. Do not consider it a hardship when you set him free and he leaves you, because the service to you for 6 years was worth twice as much. Jehovah your God has blessed you in everything that has been done. You should sanctify every firstborn male of your herd and your flock to Jehovah your God. You must not do any work with your firstborn of your herd, nor shear the firstborn of your flock. You and your household should eat it before Jehovah your God, year by year, in the place that Jehovah will choose. But if it has a defect, lameness, blindness, or any other serious defect, you must not sacrifice it to Jehovah your God. You should eat it inside your cities, the unclean and clean person together, as though it were a gazelle or a deer. But if you must not eat its blood, you should pour out on the ground like water. That blood is speaking of pouring it out. Okay. Oh, we do have 16 also. All right, 16. Excuse me. Observe the month of Abib and celebrate the Passover to Jehovah your God. For in the month of Abib, Jehovah your God brought you out of the land by night. And you should sacrifice the Passover offering to Jehovah your God from the flock and the herd, in the place that Jehovah chooses to have his name reside. You must not eat anything leavened along with it. For 7 days you should eat leavened bread, the bread of affliction, because you came out of the land of Egypt in haste. Do you think it is so? Do this so that we're in verse 3 of chapter 16. Let's see. Last part. Do this so you may remember the day you came out of the land of Egypt as long as you live. No sourdough should be eaten with you in all your territories for 7 days. Nor should any of the meat that you will sacrifice in the evening on the first day remain all night until the morning. You will not be allowed to sacrifice the Passover offering in just any of the cities that Jehovah your God is giving you. But it should be done at the place that Jehovah your God chooses to have his name reside. You should sacrifice the Passover offering in the evening as soon as the sun sets, as the appointed time for your coming out of Egypt. You must cook it and eat it in the place that Jehovah your God will choose, and in the morning you may return to your own tents. 6 days you should eat leavened bread, and on the 7th day there will be a solemn assembly to Jehovah your God. You must do no work. You should count off 7 weeks. You should begin counting off 7 weeks from the time you first put the sickle to the standing grain. Then you are to celebrate the festival of weeks to Jehovah your God, with the voluntary offering from the hand given in proportion to how Jehovah your God blesses you. I feel like I'm not saying that very well. And you are to rejoice before Jehovah your God, you and your son, your daughter, your male slave, your female slave, the Levite who is riding or inside your tents, the foreign resident, the fatherless child, and the widow who are in your midst in the place that Jehovah your God chooses to have his name reside. Remember that you became a slave in Egypt. and observe and carry out these regulations, you should celebrate the festival of booths. For 7 days, when you make an ingathering from your threshing floor and from your press oil and wine, rejoice during the festival. You and your son, your daughter, your male slave, your female slaves, the Levite, the foreign resident, the fatherless child, and the widow who are inside your cities. 7 days you will celebrate the festival to Jehovah your God in the place that Jehovah chooses for it to be. Okay, so that's 16. That was weird. You should set up a place, but hold on a second. I think I read it all. Neither should you set up a sacred pillar for yourself. Something Jehovah your God hates should be the last verse in chapter 16. Oh, hopefully I read that right. Sorry. One of the things about the facts in this matter I thought was really cool. I wrote it down here. In Exodus, or rather Deuteronomy 13, 3 through 5, it talked about, let me see here. Okay, yes, so 14, I'm sorry, no wonder I got it mixed up. I was like, I'm very confused. So 14:21, when Jehovah said about not boiling the kid or baby goat in its mother's milk, Jehovah has a sense of compassion and tenderness that he was showing here. He provided that mother's milk to nourish the baby so that would help it grow and thrive, and it was a natural, beautiful thing that Jehovah created. Well, if a person were to just disregard that natural, beautiful thing for whatever improper reason they may think of, it would show contempt for that relationship that Jehovah established. So there was also a suggestion that part of that was a pagan ritual, that they would have done something like that. Jehovah worked against cruelty to animals and towards a natural world and a natural order, that he had elevated moral standards and sensibility even towards the animals. So that's definitely something that we can reflect on when we are reflecting Jehovah's marvelous qualities, is how are we caring for our animals and the live things around us. Kind of cool to think about. I didn't realize before how much he really put in the Bible for us to think about. It's pretty awesome. Have a great day.